Hello, I'm Jerry Fort. Welcome to Jungle Jerry's Treehouse. The Monster Book, Creatures, Beasts, and Fiends of Nature. The story is Mexican Witch. This book is by Nick Redfern. Mexican Witch is on page 303. The ghastly witch had black, lidless eyes. All right. You ready? It's a story that sounds like the kind of thing one would read in the pages of something penned by horror maestro H.P. Lovecraft. Except for one key issue, it is 100% fact. It was in the early hours of Friday, January 16, 2004, that a Mexican police officer was attacked by a monstrous flying hag-like creature in Guadalupe. All was normal until around 3 a.m. when all hell broke loose. Officer Leandro Samaniego was on his routine patrol in the Colonia Valles de la Silla area when something truly nightmarish occurred. A black figure leaped out of the shadows of a large tree that stood by the side of the road and slowly turned toward the officer's cruiser. This was nothing as down to earth as a large owl. However, given the time and the darkness, Samaniego put his lights on high beam and directed the car at the thing in the road. The enormity of the situation and the horrific nature of it suddenly became all too clear. It was a hideous looking woman dressed in black, and she was floating just above the ground. For a few moments, Officer Samaniego could do nothing but stare in absolute terror as the dark-skinned woman's lidless black eyes stared directly at him. For a moment, suddenly, the winged fiend pulled her cloak around her eyes, seemingly being affected by the bright light. She then flew at the vehicle, jumped onto the hood, and tried to smash her way into the car via the windshield with her bony fists. Panicked, Samaniego managed to put his car in reverse and hit the accelerator. As the vehicle shot away at a quick rate, the monster woman clung onto the windshield, still intent on getting inside the car. Suddenly, the car slammed into a wall and came to a quite literally crashing halt. For a few moments, Samaniego covered his eyes, but it was to no avail. When he moved his hands away, the hag was still there, on the hood, and staring malevolently at him. Such was the level of his fear, he actually fainted at the wheel. In minutes, paramedics were on the scene. The beast had gone, and Samaniego soon recovered. Rather incredibly, it turned out that when Samaniego told his story to his superior officers, it prompted others in the department to admit that they too had seen the flying witch woman in the dead of night, but had failed to report their encounters for fear of ridicule. In May 2009, San Antonio, Texas-based cryptozoologist Ken Gerhard traveled to Mexico and had the very good fortune to interview Officer Samaniego firsthand, along with a television crew from the History Channel's popular show Monster Quest. Gerhard recalls how traumatic the whole affair was for Samaniego. even 5 years after it had occurred. At several junctures, he began to become emotional and tear up as he relived that terrifying evening that had changed his life forever. Leonardo confessed to us that he still had vivid nightmares about the encounter and occasionally woke up in a panic with sweat streaming down his face. I wondered if the fact that I was dressed all in black with my trademark black leather cowboy hat, adorned with a silver skull, no less, made him slightly uncomfortable. While in Guadalupe, Gerhard had the good fortune to meet with someone else who had a similar traumatic experience when he was a young boy. His name is Marco Reynoso, a UFO investigator and the former head of the regional office of the U.S.-based Mutual UFO Network. Back to Gerhard. Over breakfast, he told me about a remarkable experience that had set him on a lifelong quest for real answers. Apparently, when he was a young boy growing up in Monterey, Marco had observed a tiny winged humanoid-like creature peeking out from behind his kitchen curtains one evening. The diminutive being reminded him of a gargoyle with long black hair covering its body and a bat-like wings. To his credit, Marco made an attempt to curtail the goblin, but the entity vanished right before his eyes. Ken Gerhard has uncovered other reports of flying humanoids in Mexico, some with wings and a few that appear to have the ability to float in the sky and without the need for wings. He has also collected a great deal of reports of what sound astonishingly like presumed extinct pterosaurs from the Jurassic era. Clearly something strange is afoot in the skies of Mexico, and particularly so after sunset. All right, that was creepy, wasn't it? Sounded like when he was talking about, as a small boy, seeing a little bat-like winged creature staring at him, whatever, and then disappeared. Sounds like it was the El Cucuy. Who knows? There you go. The Monster Book. Creatures, Beasts, and Fiends of Nature by Nick Redfern. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. See you on the next one. Bye.